Hey guys, hope you're well. I am popping on today and it's pre-recorded. So I'm actually recording this just before Christmas. Well, it's Christmas Eve. And I thought I would pre-record because I don't know how busy I'm going to be and can't really work out what's happening in the week ahead. So I thought I'd pre-record just to be safe. So I hope you had a lovely Christmas because I know that would have been when you're watching this, and we're all gearing up to enter 2025, which is crazy. So this is actually my last video of 2024 before we hit the new year. So I'm popping on today and I'm going to share a really cool fun fold that was a bit different. I haven't done one before. I think I've done something similar, but not quite. So if you're watching, this is your first time watching, thanks for coming and stopping by. And a little bit about me. My name's Kayla and I live in Australia, down the bottom in Tasmania. And I've been card making for quite some time, or paper crafting in general, for over half my life. So I love to pop on and share the latest things I've been creating and how to make them. So I do have a website where you can go check out all the previous tutorials and all the work that I've been doing, and you can find that here, as well as the December host code, which is valid right through to probably actually, no, I'll cut it off at the end of the month. So there'll be a new host code on the 1st of January. So all the products that I share, you can purchase in my online store. The ones I'm using today are actually products that aren't released yet. So it's a bit of a sneak peek. And to share a little bit more about those, you can see them here. So this is not showing the actual products I'm using, but the products I'm using are from the upcoming mini catalogue and Sale-a-Bration brochure. So you can get them now if you really want to. You can actually purchase a starter kit and join my team, and you can add those to the starter kit. So you can get them early and get them with free postage and get free products, because by joining, you pay $169 and you choose $235 of product. So you're actually getting $66 in free product and free postage. You don't have to commit to selling or demonstrating things like I do. You can actually just join for the discount. So if you want to know more about that, you can hit the link in the video description called Join My Team, and that will have all of that information. So speaking of the mini catalogue that I have on my desk, but I can't share the inside yet. I can share it as of the 7th of January. I am part of the Stamping Lounge, which I'll quickly show in a second, but we're having a mini catalogue launch, and that is the wrong price it's showing there. It's meant to be $9.95. So you can see that link down below to join our mini catalogue launch, or you can become a Stamping Lounge member for $24.95 a month. You can join wherever you are in the world, and the mini catalogue launch is actually available to members included in their membership. So every month we have a new online class. In fact, in February, we're going to have a class using the terrific Toadstools that I'm using today. And we have a big community and a library full of resources. So if you want to know more about that, you can hit the link in the video description below, and that will have a lot more information. I'll share the other stuff at the end because I'm sure I want to get right into it. So these are a sneak peek of the brochures that are about to be released, and I've got loads of new product out of these, and I've been creating away. So we're going to have lots of fun things in that mini catalogue launch where we show projects and our favorites from these two catalogues. So I just wanted to share a sneak peek of what I'm up to and what I'm using. So the card I've created today to make is this fun one. So it's a bit chunky, but definitely worth it. I like making chunky cards. I don't think I can ever get away with one postage stamp. So this one's got a belly band that comes off, and we open it up to reveal these moving pop-up mechanisms with these cute little toadstools, and they've got some fun detail and embossing on them. And then where you write, you can flip over to the back and we've got a cute little panel. The other option is you could actually not put DSP in the middle here, and you could leave that bit white to write in the middle there. So that's completely up to you. But that is how I have made the card today, using a variety of different new product that I'll share with you as I go, because there's a few different things that I'm using and a few different techniques. Okay, so let's get started. You may have seen, if you joined ahead of time, the prep that I did. So I actually went ahead and pre-stamped and either punched or fussy cut these because there was quite a bit of fussy cutting there. So I did that ahead of time, and sometimes I do go ahead and do that just for the sake of the videos not being 3 hours long. So, but I will share those as I put them on the card, because the thing I want to share the most is how to put together this fun fold. So if you're new to watching, I do share a free PDF after I do these videos, and you can find a free PDF library on my website. This is actually the number 46 free PDF for the year, which just means I've provided 46 free PDFs this year, which has been a big goal of mine to come and share more of what I love doing. So I hope you've enjoyed those PDFs, because I really enjoy putting them together. So in the video description, you can find a link to that whole library. Okay, and I do try and provide metric and imperial measurements where I can. Today's card and video only provides imperial measurements, so in inches, because it was just a lot easier to keep it this way. So I've got quite a few pieces going on here. This is for the belly band. So I'm using fresh freesia, sort of a combination of fresh freesia and melon mambo today. So I'm going for the pink. Now I've got 2 pieces of fresh freesia here, which are cut to 2.5 inches square. And then I've got 2 pieces of basic white, and these are 2 3/8 of an inch square. And I have embossed those with one of my favorite embossing folders. I didn't check if it's current. I think it still is. It's the Timber 3D embossing folder. So that's for the inside pop-ups. These are the mechanisms, which are 1 inch by 5 1/4, and I'll score those with you. And then we've got a few different bits and bobs and layers here. So the melon mambo pieces you'll need 2 of, and they're cut to 5 3/8 of an inch square. And then a piece of basic white, which is going to be our layer for the back of the card where you can write, and that's cut to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then we've got some layers of melon mambo. You'll need 4 of these ones, and these are cut to 5 3/8 of an inch by 2 5/8 of an inch. Okay, and you need 4 of those. Then you'll need some DSP. So I chose this one for the front of my card, and those ones are cut to 2.5 by 5 1/4. The same with these. They're 2.5 by 5 1/4, but I've just used a different pattern. And then the pattern for the inside of the card is cut to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, then for your card base, which I've done fresh freesia, that's 5.5 by 11. Okay, so that's all of the measurements and all of the pieces that I have cut ahead of time. So we're going to start putting this together, and we're going to start with our card base. Now, I did want to quickly share though, this is the paper that I'm using, and it's super pretty. This will be available in Sale-a-Bration. So this paper you can only get for free. You can't buy it. And it has some really super cute patterns. So it's gorgeous. It's probably, the Toadstools are probably one of my favorites out of the whole catalogue. Super, super cute. And if you order with me in January, by the way, you will get the free Global Creative Project tutorial. And my tutorial uses this Toadstool bundle and this paper. So if you want some more ideas, place an order with me in January and you can get another tutorial, which it features 12 tutorials, by the way. And it's all using mini catalogue and Sale-a-Bration products. So that will be happening in January. Okay. So let's bring in the trimmer. We're going to take our 5.5 by 11 piece, and we're going to give that a couple of scores. So we're going to score it at 2 3/4. Okay, we're going to make a gatefold now. Now we want to create 2 scores. So you can either score that at 2 3/4 and come along to 8 1/4. Okay, just line that up. Or you can score it 2 3/4, flip it and score it at 2 3/4. So basically you want to get an even gatefold, and it's 2 3/4 at each end. Okay, so now we want to get our bone folder, and we're just going to reinforce these score lines here. Okay, and that's going to be our gatefold. So now we're going to start adhering some bits down. So I've got one of my pieces of melon mambo. I'm going to take this layer which I've chosen the wood grain pattern. Look at how pretty that design is on the back. It almost feels wrong covering these kind of pretty designs up, but this paper you can earn for free with a $100 order. Now, the orders are different depending on which market you live in. So here in Australia, it's $100, but if you're in the US, it's a different amount, and Europe is a different amount again. So you'll have to check your market that you're in. So I've laid that onto my layer of melon mambo, and I'm just sticking this now centered to that center panel. Now what I want to do is grab 2 panels of the melon mambo here, and I'm going to take my 2 panels of mushrooms. Now they do actually join because I've cut them to the length, and then I've cut them in half. So you could keep it the right way if you want to. I'm just going to layer that down. So I've got a nice 1/8 of an inch border. And I'm just going to stick this one to the inside panels. Okay, so I like using glue because I can move it around and get it nice and even. Now I know the lighting seems a bit dark on this video. Well, my big computer is not working anymore, so I'm having to do this on my laptop, and I'm getting used to new settings temporarily until I fix the computer situation. So I don't have my lights on because they were activated by my big computer. I'm sure I could probably work it out, but you know, it's Christmas Eve, and let's just say I braved the shops today, and I wish I hadn't. Okay, so I've got my 2 panels on the inside there. Now let's do the front panels as well. So I'm going to adhere these. Once again, I cut these as they were joined together, so you can see. It's probably better to do it when it meets on the front because you can kind of see them like that. So let's keep those in the orientation that they'll cut in. Okay, so add a bit of glue, and then I feel like I haven't practiced this card either because I only did it the once, and now I'm coming on to make it with you live. Usually I have a bit more practice, but I wanted to come and get this card prepared and photographed and all scheduled so I can take some of the pressure off, because it's now school holidays as well, so we've got a bit going on, and I'm off to Victoria in a couple of weeks, so we've got that and the Stamping Lounge launch, and we've got a retreat coming up, which I'll talk about at the end. So there's lots happening. Okay, so I've got that all stuck. So now we've got our gatefold, and it's all pretty. We'll do the back when we're further along a little bit. Let's get, when I say that, I just think of the song Let's Get Physical. That's really bad. Let's get our mechanisms done. So I have pre-done one, but these are 5 1/4 inches long by 1 inch, and we want to give these a bit of a score as well. So to do this, we're going to score on the long side at 1 inch, okay, 3 1/4 inches, and 4 1/4 inches. So we've got, by doing this, we have 3 1-inch squares, and then we've got this 2 1/4 inch length here in the middle, which is where our pop-up's going to sit. So let's just reinforce these, make sure we've got it nice and straight, like this. This is where our little pop-ups are going to sit. Okay. Now this piece here that folds over twice is what's going to sit on the inside of the card. So let's fold these out. We only want to add our glue to this panel here, which is going to sit on this side panel, and then this one is going to be glued. So when we pop open, it's going to open like this, okay? And that's going to sit to the card there. So we want to add a little bit of adhesive now to these panels, and I'm just going to line it up roughly where I want it. And I've got it sort of probably about 1/2 inch really from the top. Okay, so let's do that again. We want to put adhesive on these 2 end panels. Now the one with one scored 1-inch square is going to go to the side panel. I'm going to line it up right on the score line, roughly the same distance again from the bottom of the card to what we've got here on the top. I actually might need to move, oh, it's okay. So we've got them like this now, and that is the simplicity of that pop-up. Now what we can do is add our fresh freesia 2.5-inch square pieces. So what we want to do for this is add glue now just to this long piece. We don't want to add any to the 1-inch square, we just want it on the long piece. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Okay. And then I am going to sit my square right on top, just allowing a little bit of overhang at the bottom. Okay, so the same here, I'm going to allow just a little bit of overhang at the top. Probably seriously like only like 1/8 of an inch. And that way we've got something like this happening. So super easy. And they're going to cross over and sort of sit underneath each other. So really super simple. Now we can start sort of doing our decoration. We'll leave the belly band and the back of the card till after. So I'm going to pull in my embossed pieces that I've got there. I've just got to get a scrap of paper. Now I'm going to add a bit of Granny Apple Green. Actually, no, I'll do Lemon Lime Twist to these. So I'm going to bring in my Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm going to bring in a blending brush, and I'm just going to add a bit of my ink here. I might make this the bottom, so it's sort of like the grass. And I'm concentrating my ink towards the bottom. I know my Lemon Lime Twist really needs to be re-inked. That's my priority today, I think, because I keep using it and keep saying I'll re-ink it, and I don't. So I need to do that today. Okay, so that'll do. Got a little bit of ink on those. Now, if you want, you could add a little bit of spritzing to them if you want. Might bring in my Lemon Lime Twist marker. There's not going to be heaps of this seam because this is where we're going to add our mushrooms or our toadstools. So we can put that to the side now, and we're going to add those on top of our fresh freesia squares. So let's get a bit of adhesive going. And that should fit nicely on top of those. We've allowed for a 1/8 of an inch border. Okay. Right, now let's decorate. So I have done a whole heap of pieces. We won't need all of them because some of them are for the belly band. Gone to town here. What we're going to do is pull in our stalks for our toadstools first, because I'm going to adhere all of the toadstools on top. I think that will be easiest. I'm not used to having nails. They give it sort of a, it's like a blunt end. It's probably not the right word, but you know, you can tell how much I have my nails done when I talk like that. Let's get, take your pick tool. That will make that easier, won't it? Okay, so I've got tiny little toadstool heads as well as some bigger ones. I think that's all of them. The rest will be fine for a minute. So let's add a little bit of glue. I'm going to add some glue to these ones in the center because the stalks actually sit over the top, and this one I want a little bit of glue on each end. And this one I'm going to put at the top there. So with these big ones here, I'm going to stick this larger stalk. I'm just going to go right over the top. And what this will do will give them a minute to sort of adhere nicely so they're not falling apart as we're trying to use them. Okay. Stick that one down, and this one, this little dude, I need to use my take your pick tool again. I'm going to stick, actually no, sorry, I did that wrong. I want the glue on the other side. So I want to add the glue just to the middle of these. Okay, stay there. Okay, so then what we can do is decide where we want them, and I'm going to use my stalk with the 3. I'm just going to stick my mushrooms. I'm going to keep calling them mushrooms, honestly. That one wants to stick to the grid paper. Stay there. And then this last one, very cute. And then I want my fresh freesia one, and I'm going to stick that just to the top of this small one. So there, we've put all those together. There's also in here a little ladybug or a bug, and that's kind of got, you can use this as a mushroom top, but you can also use it as on the back of our little beetle. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there and stick that one on the top. So that's kind of how I've placed all of those down. Now we're going to start putting it all together. So I'm going to use one of the larger ones here. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to start sort of building a little scene. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue and stick this large one down. Now I'm not adding any dimensionals to the inside because it's already quite a dimensional card. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to my pumpkin pie one, and then I've also stamped some of these really cute leaves, so I'm going to stick a couple, and we're going to cover those in a minute as we build this scene up. So I'm just going to add in a couple of those, and then this cute little image here is like blades of grass, so I'm going to add in a couple of these down the bottom. Stick those on top of each other just to sort of build them up a little bit. Now I have heat embossed a couple of sentiments on Early Espresso. So I've got this "You Are Magical." I might just use some scissors just to trim that down on the ends. And I'm going to take a couple more of these little greenery pieces, layer those up. Okay. And then our "You Are Magical" is going to go over the top. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue there and stick that one down. And I'll put this little fresh freesia little toadstool in here. And I did forget I was going to add a blade of grass in there. So add a little bit of glue and tuck that in behind. So it's sort of peeking up through there. And then I'm going to also pop this little set of 3. So I add a bit of glue on each of those. And I'm sort of going to tuck. I should have put this one in first, but I forgot about that little dude. So I'll tuck that one in there. And then we're going to kind of fill this up a little bit. So I'm going to add my little beetle bug. Pop him on top of my pumpkin pie little toadstool. Now, I have some flowers. These are super cute. They're punched from the Toadstool DSP from the Pedal Park punch, which I have just here. So I've used scraps of the DSP and punched it using this one. Now, what I'm going to do with these is actually scrunch them up and then unravel them just to give them a bit of texture. So I'll just sort of scrunch them in a ball and unravel them. Okay. I just want to do that to all of them. Okay, almost there. I've chosen a few different patterns, and these were actually the scraps from cutting out the layers on this card. So I thought it was a great way to use those little bits of scraps that often get chucked in the bin or don't get used. I quite often put them back in the paper packet and they just never seem to get used. So having little things you can do and little bits you can punch like this is a really great way to utilize those scraps and not have them go to waste. Okay, so unravel that one. And then I'm going to just grab my glue and just add a little bit of glue to stick them onto the inside of my card. So I just want them to peek out a little bit. I'll stick one up here. Okay. Take a moment to stick. I'm going to spritz some Winter Stella across the inside so I get a bit of sparkle happening. I'll set these ones to the side, but I want to add a little bit of pretty. So these are the purple adhesive back sequins. They're also a Sale-a-Bration product that you'll be able to get free with an order. So I'm going to add some of those onto the inside of the card. I love these for embellishing the inside of the card because they don't add much bulk. So you can get away with adding them on the inside. I'm also going to add a couple of the little brushed brass butterflies. These are one of my favorites, and once again, they're not very dimensional, so you can get away with using them without adding too much dimension. So I'm going to add a couple of these to the inside. Probably add 3. There we go. So that is the inside done. How cool is that? Now let's quickly add, sometimes it needs a bit of teasing just to stay there, and when you add the belly band, this will stay a little bit better as well. So I'm going to add the back of my card now quickly so we can get the back done. So I'm going to take my layer of Melon Mambo and my layer of Basic White, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. Now I did actually forget to get out the stamps, but I'm sure we can do that in a jiffy. So I've got my stamp set. I want to take my little mountain and a couple of the stalks here. So I'm just going to grab that one. I'm going to grab that one. Let's see. I need that little dude. And I might grab the blade of grass. So for the little mountain of grass, I'm just going to mount that up. And I'm going to grab some granny apple green. Oh, sorry, I got the hiccups. I'm going to grab my granny apple green. I'm going to stamp a little hill of grass there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of crumb cake and with my stalk, I want to just add the stalk there. I'm going to add a tiny little stalk for the other one. I'm going to do that in some pebbled path. Just along here. Let's bring back in our granny apple green and do some little stalks of grass here. So I'm just going to do them along the side here. I think I might just leave it at 2. And then we're going to bring in some pumpkin pie. I'm going to do my little mushroom. I called it a mushroom again. And then I'm going to take some melon mambo. I've been stamping with so many colours. I have the rainbow on my desk. Okay, so I want some melon mambo and my other cute little stalk there. Now, what I'm going to do to add a little bit more grass is I'm going to take my granny apple green and I'm literally just going to draw some extra grass along my hill, and I'm just doing little tiny strokes with my Stampin' Wrap marker. Now I might even spritz a little bit of the granny apple green up there. Probably take a little bit of Winker Stella, and that is as simple as the back of my card will be. I did actually add a little bit of bullet soft blending. Now I think, what did I have on here? Lemon lime twist or something. I'll just add a little bit of soft blending along there. Now let's mount this up to our layer of melon mango. And we'll stick that down. Now you can add a couple of the butterflies if you want. Probably add them towards the bottom here and don't do any at the top because you want your belly band to come over there, so you don't want it to catch on that. Make sure you've got your card the right way up, flip it over, and then we can add our writing space on the back here. So a little bit of glue and then stick this down. Oopsie. Make sure you've got it nice and even. Okay. Now we need to add our belly band on. So I have got my bit of fresh freesia. I'm going to line that up on my grid paper to make sure it's nice and straight. I'm going to add my card, make sure my card's straight. I'm sort of going to center it a little bit. And then I'm actually just going to use my bone folder to make a mark on either side. Now, it's probably really hard to see that, but I can definitely see it. Now, I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in because I really like to reinforce this score line because I feel like it folds around the card nicer. Okay, now you want to check that your belly band is going to work nicely. Okay, so as you can see, mine doesn't meet in the middle, and that is completely okay because we're actually going to add a circle over the top, which is what's going to join that together. Okay, so now they've got a couple of options here. I did actually add a little bit of fresh freesia ink. So I'm going to bring out my fresh freesia and a blending brush, and I sort of added a little bit to my edges of my belly band. I just thought it looked really nice. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Now I'm going to grab some glue so I can glue my circle on, and that's what's going to hold this together. So I want to add a little bit of adhesive on either side of that belly band. And then I'm going to stick that down. Now you want to give that a moment to really adhere nicely, okay? Make sure you haven't got any glue where it shouldn't be. While that dries for a second, I'm going to bring in my Spotlight on Nature die. Now I did forget to mention that these dies are from the Spotlight on Nature set, and I have used the third largest of this design here, and the I think it's the third or fourth largest of this one. They just layer together nicely, but approximately the biggest circle is 3 3/8 of an inch. So you can work with any kind of circles you want, really. Now, with this one, I'm going to take my fresh freesia and just add a little bit of inking around this smaller circle. Okay. That should do. Now, you can take a little bit of fresh freesia ink as well and spritz some on there. You can see it a tiny bit, but it's not super intense. And now what I want to do is actually adhere this onto the card with some stamping dimensionals, because that's going to be raised up just a tad. Now I need to find, I've got a few here that need to be used up. Let's get a new sheet. So I'll stick that down like that. And that's going to go on the top of that granny apple green circle that we did. Now, I've got a couple of bits I've done earlier. So I've got another of the grassy mountains, but that one is just stamped and fussy cut out. And I have one of the larger Toadstools, and that's done with some Poppy Parade and Crumb Cake. And then one of these is done with, actually that's grey granite. This one's Crumb Cake and Pumpkin Pie. Okay, and then I do have a sentiment which is stamped heat embossed in white on some early espresso as well. So I'm going to start putting all of this together now. So I want to adhere my bit of grass, and I'm going to do the grass with some stamping dimensionals. So I'm just going to grab a few of those and stick them to my little hill. And I'm going to pop that sort of just below halfway. And then we're going to stick our mushrooms down as well. Now, they won't need to be, the only dimensions need to be on the tops, because these are going to sit on top of that hill there. So what I'm going to do is actually just layer them together. And then adhere these, but I might just add a little bit of glue to the stalks. That way I can sit them on the top. Okay, so that's all we need to do with that. Now our sentiment, I'm going to chop that down a little bit. Just, you could do this with a trimmer. You can do free bullet like I am with this. And that one is going to be stuck over the top. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to add a little bit of dimensionals to the edge here, because it's going to sit over the top. So I'm just going to cut a little edge piece of these dimensionals, and that'll have to go on the bottom edge here. Let's grab a little bit of glue where it will sit on top of the others, and that's going to sit like that. Okay, now before we go any further, we're going to do the ribbon bow. Oh, it's not ribbon, actually, it's twine. I'm going to sit this on the top of this now, just to see that it works nicely. So I'm just going to go over the top of this piece. Nice. Now, the way I tied my bow is actually using this Flirty Flamingo Baker's twine, which you can find in the store. Now, I'm going to measure it out by doing this. So I'm going to put it over my fingers. I have to hold it on my middle finger with my thumb, and then take my forefinger and my middle finger apart. And I'm going to wrap it around, like underneath and over, about 3 times. And then I'm going to have a tail long enough. So that's where I know I'm going to need it to be that long. So it does use a fair bit. You could do it without doing the bit I'm going to do. I just really liked the look of the frayed twine. So what I'm going to do is, this bit takes a little while. I'm going to use my take your pick tool with the pokey end. I'm actually going to start pulling the threads apart. So I actually want to make them individual threads and not make this baker's twine as thick. Now, once you get that started, I found that once you pull this first bit apart. So I just want to undo the individual strands, and then what I'm going to do, pull them apart where I want them, and then use your forefinger and your thumb to twist them apart, because this baker's twine is kind of twisted together. So just keep those apart. You can use your other finger and then twist the threads apart. So that takes a bit of time. Sort of use your finger to brush them apart to keep them from not going back together again. There's a bit of a knack to it, but once you get it, it's super easy. Now, I'm pretty sure I pulled it apart into 3 sections. Okay, it's cute because once you pull it apart, it sort of has a crimped look to it. It's really cute. Surprisingly, the card's almost done, and I'm only 40 minutes in, so I'm shocked because I was worried how long this one would take, especially when I start doing things like this to a card. As much as I tell myself to keep it simple, it doesn't happen. Okay, so that one I'm pretty happy with the thickness, but let's pull this one apart even more. So this one looks like it's got 4 strands. So what I'm going to do is halve it into 2 lots of 2. Now this one's a lot thinner, so it's going to be easier. So once again, straighten them out, use your fingers and twist it as you go along. You've kind of got to readjust. It may not seem like it's worth it, but it really creates a nice fluffy bow, which I really liked the texture that gives. So I think that I will do it more because it's very pretty. Okay, there we go. Now sort of straighten them out with your fingers. Pull that and find the ends to line them up again. May seem weird that we're pulling it apart to put it back together again. Okay. So then we've got this really cute fluffy look now. So what I'm going to do is line it back up roughly where I had it and tie my triple bow. I'll pull that underneath. And then I've got this really fluffy triple bow. Look at that. Isn't it cute? Okay, so then I actually want to put this tucked a little bit underneath here. So I really should have done it before I stuck it down, but it's okay. So what I want to do is stick it sort of underneath there, and then you can readjust these a little bit to have them where you want them. And then you can decide how long you want those tails to be. So you can even curl. I think I did this on the original one. I sort of twisted one of them up, and I used a glue dot to sort of hold that in place. Then you can trim your tails a little bit, and you can do them a little bit uneven. So you could trim one a little bit higher than the other and have one lower, so they're not like a bob cut. Now let's get our glue dot, and we actually want to use a glue dot to hold that loop bit in place, but also probably the whole bow, you sort of want it to be nicely secure. So I'm just going to tuck that little bit underneath there and fluff it up a little bit. You can take your pick through and fluff up those ends if you want. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I actually really liked it. So then we're going to finish it off. Add some Winker Stella, of course, and then we're going to add in some of these flowers again. So I might even just use some glue dots to stick those down. So we'll add a few of those in. Let's add a smaller one over here, and then sticking to my nails. Let's stick that down. I'm going to add 5 5 flowers. Stick one in there. And then we're going to bring in the sequins again. You can use a mixture of the sequin colours. Might do another bright one. And then another one of those. Then let's add a couple of these butterflies. I might add one of the big butterflies over here and a small one up here. And that's done. How cool is that? So there's a few techniques, the fun fold design, and I showed you how to make a fluffy bow with the baker's twine. So we pull that up and then pop this open to reveal these little pop-up squares that have cute little toadstool scenes on them, which really gets shown off with the DSP as well. And then we flip over to reveal a space to write. So really, really fun. I also made matching envelopes for these. So these envelopes were made using the envelope punch board, and I've just added a little bit of stamping, which was the same combination as the stamping on the back of the card. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make this sort of gatefold floating pop-up card. It was a lot of fun to make it. So if you didn't catch the start, I shared how you can get these products now by buying a starter kit. You can add them to a starter kit, or they go on sale on the 7th of January. Now, I'm just trying to think, I think 3 of these products actually can't be purchased. They will be able to be earned with a qualifying order. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that this is linked in the comments. So this is the Storybook Moments Retreat, which is happening with the Stamping Lounge. It's now available to join. So the link will be down below. It's $54.95 Australian, and it's available anywhere in the world. It's an online platform that you can join. And we have a really cool website where you can go back to the retreats you purchase at any time. There is a retreat kit, which will be available if you live in Australia. That will cut off for orders around Australia Day, so we have time to pack and send them. If you want to know what's in the kit, I have a picture here which will show what's in the kit. Now, if you are a demonstrator and you want a kit and you've already purchased the Storybook Friends bundle, that's totally fine. You can swap that out for something else. These kits were really popular last time. We even pop exclusive gifts in there, and it also comes, which is not really shown in the picture, but it comes with all the pre-cut supplies that you need to join in the retreat. So all the projects are pre-cut and supplied for you. And it has all of that stuff that you need included. So we will be doing 3 projects that include the Storybook Garden bundle as well, which isn't included. So you can purchase that separately if you want. That's just a bonus class that we do on there as well. So really, really super fun. We can't wait. There'll be lots of fun folds, lots of ideas. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So if you want to join in that retreat, whether it be online, no matter where you are in the world, or if you want to purchase a kit and join, by the way, if you purchase a kit, you actually get the $54.95 retreat ticket free. So really, really super fun if you want to join in. So that's my host code if you want to, for the rest of December, if you want to get a free card tutorial and gift from me. I always appreciate all your support that you give my little business. The Global Creative Project tutorial for December is still available. You can always purchase these, even the previous month, in my tutorial store, which you'll find at kaylarenee.com. You'll see them come up on the front page of that website as well. If you order with me, you actually get the current month's tutorial free as well, and I send that out to you. So awesome. That's about it for today. Have a happy new year, and I will see you guys next year. That sounds really weird to say, but I will see you all then. And as always, if you have any questions or queries, feel free to shoot me a message. I would love to help. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next year. See you guys.